The movie begins on an island with a singer auditioning in a bar owned by a tycoon. The tycoon was impressed by her performance and ordered his bartender to serve her one of his finest wine. The bartender spills wine on her. After the apologies of the bartender for his carelessness, the tycoon appears to be calm, then suddenly he stabs the bartender with a knife right in front of the singer. The tycoon told the terrified singer that she now works for him. The movie cuts to Los Angeles where two LAPD officers Mark and his partner Phil in undercover operation to bust drug dealers. The operation went wrong as his partner Phil engaged in a fight with one of the drug dealers. After the situation has been handled and the dealers arrested, Mark got a call from the island informing him that his brother was dead. The next day he took a boat to the island to attend his brother's funeral. Mark spent some time comforting his mother before going to the local police station to find out what caused the death of his brother. The police chief officer Nate and Mark go way back from childhood and were good friends. He informed him of how crime rates has gone up on the island since he left and can't protect the island from crime because of the limited resources and the small police force on the island. He assumes that his brother's death may be gang-related until he finds out what really happened. He also visits his ex-wife Akila. They both still share feelings for each other and haven't remarried since they split. Akila told Mark 2 months ago his brother took a bartending job for Alvarez the tycoon and gave him the location of the club. Mark confronted Alvarez at his club to find out what happened to his brother. The tycoon denies and tells him his brother got into trouble with gangs and was killed. He gave him a piece of paper with the address of the club where his brother used to hang out and told him the island in which he grew up in has changed. Mark threatens the tycoon to move his business out of the island. When Mark leaves, he gave orders for some gang to kill Mark to prevent him from ruining his corrupt business on the island. In another scene, Mark went to see an old friend who possesses his weapons he left with him before he left the island. Mark appears at the club address to find out what happened to his brother. The interrogation did not go well as one of the gang member pulls out a gun, but Mark quickly disarms him and asks politely again about his brother, but the gang members were having none of it as one of them pulls out knife and fight starts. Mark skillfully took them out with precise kicks and punches. As one of them confessed that he knew nothing about his brother's death, 3 gunmen in a bike opened shots and sprayed bullets at Mike. He flees from the scene as he knocks one of the gunmen of his bike. He fled the scene as one of the gunmen made a call their boss, saying they couldn't get him. These men were sent by Alvarez the tycoon. He then gave them new orders to attack his mother's home. Unfortunately, there was no one home as Mark already moved his mother to Akila's place. As they were about to leave, one of the gunmen took an old picture of Mark and his ex-wife Akila. Back at the crime scene at Mark's mother's home, Mark asked Nate, the chief police officer, for help to take down Alvarez as Mark suspects that he has something to do with the death of his brother. Nate, the chief police officer, told him about the singer who was performing the day his brother was killed. Cut back to Alvarez, who is furious at the gunman for not killing Mark, as he orders his bodyguard to kill them. When he gets to the last one, he told him of the photo he took from Mark's mother's home of him and his ex-wife about her location before he gets shot right in the head. Mark sees the singer from we saw at opening of the movie who witnessed the death of his brother. She was afraid of letting Mark in because of Alvarez's men, but he told her that he is cop and assures her that he would get her out of the island safely if she tells him what she witnessed. She finally opens up and tells him that Alvarez was the one that killed his brother. Mark handed the singer over to Nate to get her safely off the island. Then we see armed men approaching Akila's home where they were. Mark spots them from the window and they quickly moved through the back door. The armed men followed them into the forest and opened fire as they try to get to safety. Nate was alerted and rushed to aid them. The shots continued as one of the men got hit and the others fled away. Then we see Alvarez in the apartment of the singer, who finds out that witnesses has escaped. Furious, Alvarez makes the watchguard pay for his mistake. We then see Nate handing a document to a local priest. Back at his home, Alvarez is now worried about the witness testifying against him and being arrested, as his bodyguard proposed a plan. The movie cuts to a scene where Mark and Akilla talked about their painful past and how she lost their daughter. We see the Nate's car slowly approaching as Mark stops, only to see him almost dead. Suddenly they hear gunshots behind them as the armed men we saw earlier opens shots at them. They tried to defend themselves. It was a trap to kidnap Akilla. Mark rushes back to check on Nate, only to see him dead. The next day Mark is seen interrupting a sermon to ask for help from the locals to give any information they find about the whereabouts of Akilla, as she is being held hostage by Alvarez. The local priest handed the files Nate gave him earlier. Back at the station we then find out that the documents contains files against Alvarez for money laundering. Two local kids spotted the bodyguard of Alvarez who helped kidnap Akilla and reported to Mark at the station. When Mark's partner Phil arrived at the station to assist him, he confirms that the witness is safe back in the US. Mark gets a call from Alvarez for an exchange of Akilla for the witness and sets up a place to meet. The next day Mark sends Phil to the location where Akilla is being held hostage while he meets up with Alvarez for the exchange. The plan was to ensure that Phil rescues Akilla while Mark handles Alvarez and the witness remains safe. Alvarez is shocked to find out that no one responded after he gave the kill order for Akilla. Mark takes out his bodyguard and the locals finished him off as he was about to shoot Mark from behind. They are here to fight for their island. Mark and Alvarez got into a one-on-one fight and Mark defeats him. The movie closes with Mark and Akilla reuniting and Phil interrupts the moment. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below.